what is corporate culture? It's often a misunderstood term, and it means a lot of different things to a lot of people, but it's really important to get this right. There's good news and there's bad news about corporate culture in what defines it and what creates it. And today I'm going to share three main things that you've got to get right in order to have buy-in truly to the kind of workplace that you're looking to create that attracts and retains amazing people. Hi there, I'm Lisa Jackson of Culture Pros, where we help organizations build attraction cultures that create change for good, change for the good of people, change for the good of the company and its growth. So let's dive in. What is corporate culture? Culture is social. It's dynamic. It's also often left to chance versus physical structures in your company or business processes that are really well known, like capital investments or finance or IT, which are usually governed by common rules and frameworks. The most common corporate culture definition, you've probably heard it, is how we get things done around here. In over 2 decades of practitioner experience in helping organizations lead cultural change, often when the wheels have come off and there is toxic cultural elements, the how that matters most to people centers around 3 things. Number 1, how people are hired, trained, rewarded, and promoted signals everything about your culture. Number 2, how leaders foster connection to purpose and core values and align decisions to them. Do you have a good process for that drives the decision-making lower into the organization for people that are closer to the customer? My Gallup newsletter today showed that 6 in 10 people feel disconnected from their company's purpose. That's a big miss. How leaders give attention to the struggles of their people rather than what matters to them, which is generally their career path, EBITDA, the numbers. So let's explore 3 key areas on defining corporate culture and getting better at conveying and communicating that. Number 1, old school culture versus reality. The bad news is that too often outdated, bureaucratic, old school management practices run rampant in companies, like pure hierarchy, outdated budgeting processes, the annual RIF or reduction in force or reorg. This is just the way it is around here. But many of these are truly out of touch with modern worker experiences and expectations and the pace of change for sure. The good news is a bureaucratic, old school corporate culture is not a given when you increase in size and scale. Many of the top 20 of the Fortune 500, think Apple, Berkshire Hathaway, Kroger, treat culture as an essential business process, always evolving based on real feedback from their people, which, as we know, is not easy when you're a company with 147,000 employees like Apple. It's about seeing people as human beings worthy of being cared for first and foremost versus a number on a balance sheet. It's about flexibility. This is a top feedback theme for years from employees. They want to be able to have work-life balance. And I think 2020 showed us that that is possible to maintain productivity and give people flexibility. Of course, they want career development. That's been all over the news. Even if you're small, are you encouraging your people to learn or take classes to grow themselves? And healthy change. So a healthy corporate culture is always evolving, always changing, always looking for feedback from their people and how they can do that best rather than that being decided at the top. Number 2, define it and manage it. The bad news is it's not easy to shape and measure and keep fresh and evolve an essential business process that basically is mostly intangible. Everybody wants a say in it. That doesn't share a common definition or framework, even at the practitioner level. What are the generally accepted practices for culture? That most executives lead most executives to feel that it's fluffy and mysterious and it's a nice to have versus a truly essential enabler of high performance. The good news is culture is definable, it's measurable, and it is tangible. Consider this analogy. Imagine that you just attended a great music festival. Hopefully one day again soon. The feelings, the experience, the memorable moments, they evoke a very specific kind of feeling and mental story and experience and memory afterwards. That was no accident. how that experience was created. It was shaped down to the details of the costumes, the opening number, the songs, the staging. In an amazing show, everything from the pre-marketing of the show to the last encore is designed with the customer experience in mind. Corporate culture is not a theatrical production, but your employees are your customers. And boy, we could use a little more of the fun factor in business today. When leaders view themselves as producers of a positive and energizing experience of their people, they gain a lot more loyalty. They tap into people's creativity and ideas. They also generate a long wait list of applicants wanting to work for them. Wouldn't it be great to have the way your customers refer your business to other colleagues of theirs? Wouldn't it be awesome if your employees were readily doing that as well? The best companies promote leaders who are good with people, period. In these companies, people managers are passionate about creating that kind of a positive employee experience, living and demonstrating the core values, or they just don't get promoted. This is not HR's responsibility. HR's role is to help bring the tools and the knowledge and some of the structure around us to shape the management practices, but there is really no substitute for leadership who see their job as creating a positive experience for their people or turning negative feedback around into a win by listening and responding. If you're struggling to define and measure your culture, we have a range of tools to help. Please get in touch with us. We'd love to have a chance to chat with you about that. Number 3, bad news, good news about corporate culture is the Uncle Joe phenomena. The bad news about corporate culture is when people are hired and let go with no reinforcement of the core values, or in some cases, never let go. In most toxic cultures, there's an Uncle Joe who sits about the top of some department or division. No one knows what he does. No one knows how he brings value, but he's stellar at being a roadblock for all the essential work of a big percent of the employee base in your company. The feedback has been ignored for months or years. He's a fixture. In his wake are dozens or hundreds of disgruntled employees who feel the company is at the core unfair. The good news about corporate culture and this phenomena of Uncle Joe is that in greater transparency fueled by websites like Glassdoor. Have you ever seen the show Undercover Boss? It's an awesome version of transparency and giving CEOs the reality check on their business. It's becoming an expectation and reality across our society that transparency is king. Makes it hard for the Uncle Joe phenomena to stick and to thrive in a transparent world, especially in a company that wants to build a lovable brand, not just rely on their legacy or a single product. All right, so the bottom line, corporate culture can be a strong fuel source for your company bottom line. I know it. I've been working for 2 decades to help companies improve profitable growth through culture. And you got to just get 3 things truly right and measure your employee perceptions about these and anonymously. Number 1, strong purpose, a strong connection to purpose, not just a sense in which it exists as a statement on a wall. Why do we exist? Number 2, right leadership. It's so important. And number 3, which really leads directly off number 2, is fairness in people decisions. So you're not always going to get it right, but you've got to show that that matters and that you're making that effort. Again, if we can assist in designing or carrying out this process in your company, we'd love the chance to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening today. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.